The Velkari fleet tried to retreat, but the human ships pursued them like wolves chasing prey. Day had no intention of letting them escape easily. Hana, stay on their flagship. I want Threxvar to feel what it's like to be hunted. Day's voice was cold and focused. Tairi, take the Shadow's edge and cut off their escape route. Wujin, calculate their FTL jump coordinates. I want to know where they're going before they do. The Indomitable chased the Velkari flagship through space. Every time the enemy ship tried to turn, Hana anticipated the move. She pulled maneuvers that made the crew grip their stations, pushing the ship through turns that would have torn apart vessels built by other species. They're trying to charge their FTL drive, Wu Jin reported, but they need 30 seconds to power up. That's 30 seconds too long. Day turned to Tai Sung. Disable their engines. Don't destroy the ship. I want prisoners. Tai Sung fired precisely. The shots hit the flagship's main engines. Explosions rippled across the Velkari ship's stern. It began to drift, powerless, but something else was happening on the tactical display. 3 Velkari ships had broken away from the main fight. They were heading directly toward Kepler 442b. Commander, we have a problem, Wu Jin said urgently. 3 enemy ships are making for the colony. They're preparing to land troops, Deke cursed under his breath. This was exactly what he had feared. How long until they reach the surface? 10 minutes. Maybe less. Hana, break off pursuit. We need to intercept those ships. We won't make it in time, Hana said, checking her calculations. They're too close to the planet. Day made a quick decision. Then we don't stop them. We let them land. Jinho, are you reading this? Sergeant Jinho's voice came through from the marine deck. I hear you, Commander. My teams are already moving to defensive positions. How many Marines do you have? 150 fully equipped. The colonists have another 200 volunteers with mining equipment and hunting rifles. Against how many Velkari troops? Estimating 400 to 500 enemy soldiers across 3 ships. The odds were bad, but Day had confidence in his people. Jinho, you know what to do. Hold that colony. Show them what human soldiers can do. With pleasure, sir. We'll make Earth proud. The 3 Velkari ships entered the planet's atmosphere. They were large landing vessels designed to carry troops and equipment. They touched down on the edge of the colony, their ramps dropping to release soldiers. Jinho watched from the colony's main defensive wall. He held a rifle that was simple but deadly effective. Around him, his Marines checked their weapons and adjusted their armor. They looked calm, professional. Most of them had fought in worse situations. The Velkari troops emerged from their ships. They wore powered armor that made them look twice their normal size. Energy weapons glowed in their hands. They moved in perfect formation, disciplined and precise. Corporal Jiwoo crouched next to Jinho. She was young on her first major deployment. Sergeant, there are so many of them. Numbers don't matter as much as you'd think, Jinho replied calmly. Remember your training. They evolved on a low-gravity world. That armor is giving them artificial strength, but it makes them slower. We're faster. We're stronger naturally, and we've been fighting in this gravity our whole lives. The Velkari forces advanced toward the colony. Their commander, visible in gold-trimmed armor, transmitted a message. Human defenders, surrender now. You cannot win this battle. We have superior numbers and superior technology. Jinho activated his transmitter. This is Sergeant Jinho of Earth Special Forces. You're standing on human territory. You have one chance to return to your ships and leave. Otherwise, we will defend our home. You are outmatched. We will take this colony with minimal resistance. Then come and try, Jinho said simply. He closed the channel and looked at his Marines. Wait until they're at 300 meters. Let them think they're safe. Then show them what human accuracy looks like. The Velkari troops advanced. 400 armored soldiers moving in formation. They expected the humans to panic or surrender. They did neither. At 300 meters, Jinho gave the order. Fire! 150 rifles spoke as one. The sound was like thunder rolling across the colony. Velkari soldiers fell, their armor punctured by projectiles traveling faster than sound. The aliens had shields designed for energy weapons, not bullets. The enemy formation broke apart in confusion. They had expected energy weapons, the standard for galactic warfare. But humans still used projectiles because they worked. Simple, reliable, and deadly. Advance, Jinho ordered. His Marines moved forward, firing with precision that came from years of training. Behind them, colonists with hunting rifles added their own fire. The Velkari troops tried to return fire. Their energy weapons were powerful, but the Marines took cover behind colony buildings and mining equipment. When the aliens hit a human fighter, they were shocked by what happened next. Private Taman took a glancing shot to his shoulder. The energy blast burned through his armor and scorched his skin. He fell back behind cover, gasping in pain. Dr. Bora, who had landed with the Marines, rushed to him. "Hold still," she said, injecting him with medicine that would control the pain and prevent infection. She bandaged the wound quickly. "Doc, am I out?" Taman asked. "Can you hold a rifle?" "Yes." "Then get back in the fight." She patted his good shoulder. "You'll have a nice scar to show off later." Taman returned to the defensive line, already firing again. This shocked the Velkari observers. They had wounded the human soldier significantly. By their standards, he should be evacuated and out of combat for days. Instead, he was fighting again within minutes. This was the difference between humans and other species. Pain didn't stop them. Injury slowed them down but rarely stopped them. They had evolved on a world where weakness meant death, so they learned to push through anything. The battle on the ground intensified. Velkari troops tried to flank the human positions, but the Marines anticipated every move. Jinho's experience showed in every order he gave. He had fought on 6 different worlds. He knew how to read a battlefield. "Jiwoo, take your squad left. They're trying to circle around. Cut them off." "Yes, Sergeant." Jiwoo led her squad at a run. The Velkari troops saw them coming and opened fire. But the humans moved fast, using cover effectively. They closed the distance and engaged at close range. The Velkari soldiers found themselves in hand-to-hand combat. This was their worst nightmare. Even with powered armor, they couldn't match human strength and aggression. Jiwoo used her combat knife to disable an alien soldier's armor, then knocked him unconscious with her rifle butt. Back in space, the main battle continued. The Indomitable had reached the Velkari landing ships. Taesung fired on their engines, stranding them on the ground. The alien troops had no way to retreat now. "Commander, I'm picking up transmissions from the surface," Woojin said. "Jinho's Marines are winning. The Velkari are falling back." "How many casualties on our side?" 20 wounded. "None killed. The aliens have lost over 100 soldiers." Day allowed himself a small smile. His people were performing exactly as he knew they would. The Defiant Storm, despite taking heavy damage earlier, continued fighting. Its Captain Youngsu targeted another enemy vessel. "This is for making us look weak," he said as his weapons fired. The Velkari ship's shields collapsed and its hull broke apart. Captain Taeri on the Shadow's Edge had been busy. She had successfully boarded a Velkari command ship with a small strike team. They fought through corridors, their combat skills overwhelming the alien crew. Taeri reached the bridge and accessed the ship's computer systems. "Commander Day, you're going to want to see this," she transmitted. "I'm sending you data files from their command ship. This proves everything." Woojin received the files and began analyzing them. His eyes widened. "Sir, these communications logs show this entire operation was planned by the Velkari Military High Command. They were never pirates. The Galactic Council coordinated this whole test. They wanted us to fail. Can you prove it? Everything we need is right here. Ship manifests, orders from Velkari commanders, even communications with council officials. They set us up. Perfect. Broadcast it. I want every council observer ship to see this. Let the galaxy know what really happened here." The transmissions went out on open channels. Every ship watching the battle received the evidence. The Galactic Council observers, sitting safely at the edge of the system, suddenly found themselves implicated in a conspiracy. On the ground, the Velkari troops finally broke. They had lost too many soldiers. Their landing ships were disabled, and these human defenders showed no sign of stopping. The alien commander ordered a surrender. Jinho accepted it cautiously. "Weapons down. Armor off. Hands where we can see them." 400 Velkari soldiers complied. They stood in the open, their gold eyes showing confusion and fear. How had they lost? They had superior numbers, better technology. They should have won easily. Jiwoo stood guard over a group of prisoners. One of them spoke to her in broken human language. "How you do this?" "We are trained warriors. We have best equipment." Jiwoo looked at him with tired eyes. "You want to know our secret? We're from Earth. Every single day of our evolution, something tried to kill us: predators, disease, weather, other humans. The human fleet arrived at Kepler 442b exactly on schedule. The planet hung in space before them, a world of blue oceans and brown continents. It looked peaceful. That would change soon. Day stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, watching the tactical display. Hana, take us into orbit. Standard defensive pattern. Woojin, I want full sensor sweeps of the system. On it, Commander. Woojin's fingers flew across his console. I'm picking up the colony's transmissions. Director Sungmin is requesting contact. Put him through. The main screen flickered. A middle-aged man with tired eyes appeared. Behind him, Day could see the colony's control center. People moved urgently in the background. Commander Day, thank God you're here, Sungmin said. We've been tracking suspicious activity at the edge of the system for the past 6 hours. Multiple ships, military grade. How many? At least 15. Maybe more. They're trying to hide their numbers. Sungmin looked worried. Commander, I need to know. Can 3 ships really defend us against that many? Day met his eyes steadily. Director, I won't lie to you. The odds are bad. But humanity has survived worse odds for millions of years. We didn't become the dominant species on Earth by giving up when things got hard. Sungmin nodded slowly. What do you need from us? Prepare your shelters. Make sure every civilian knows where to go if fighting reaches the surface. And don't evacuate. If you run, they win. We're not running, Commander. This is our home, good man. Day out, the screen went dark. Hana looked at him. You really think we can do this? I know we can. The question is whether they know what they're getting into. Day turned to Tai Sung. Status on the asteroids? Mining drones deployed. They're placing charges now. Give me 2 hours and I'll have a nice surprise ready for our guests. You have 1 hour. They won't wait long. Captain Terry's voice came through from the shadow's edge. Commander, I'm moving into position. Stealth systems are active. They won't see me until it's too late. Good. Stay dark until I give the signal. The Defiant Storm took up position near the largest asteroid field. Its captain, Young-Soo, reported in. We're ready to play bait. Yuna made the damage look convincing. They'll think we're barely holding together. Wu Jin suddenly sat up straight. Commander, I'm detecting multiple FTL signatures. They're coming out of hyperspace. Right on schedule. How many? Counting now. 12, 15, 17. Wu Jin's voice tightened. 18 ships total. All Velkari military configuration. So much for pirates, Hana muttered. The enemy fleet appeared on the main screen. 18 warships arranged in a perfect formation. They were beautiful in a deadly way. All smooth curves and gleaming metal. At the center was the largest ship, the Velkari flagship. I'm picking up a transmission, Wu Jin said. It's directed at us. Let's hear it. The screen changed again. A tall alien appeared, his skin a pale blue color with darker markings. His eyes were large and gold. This was Warlord Threxvar. He wore elaborate armor and held himself with arrogant confidence. Human vessels, this is Warlord Threxvar of the Velkari Empire. You are ordered to stand down immediately and surrender the colony world. You have 10 minutes to comply. Day stepped forward so Threxvar could see him clearly. This is Commander Day of Earth's Special Forces Fleet. Kepler 442b is a human colony under the protection of Earth. You have no authority here. Threxvar's expression showed surprise. He clearly had not expected resistance. You dare refuse? You have 3 primitive ships against my fleet of 18. This is not a battle you can win. You're probably right, Day said calmly. But here's the thing about humans, Warlord. We don't really care about odds. We care about what's right. And you attacking our colony? That's not right. I am giving you 1 chance to avoid bloodshed. Funny, I was about to say the same thing to you. You have 10 minutes to leave our space. After that, we will consider your presence an act of war. The bridge of the Indomitable went silent. Every crew member stared at Day. Even Hana looked shocked. He had just threatened a force 6 times their size. Threxvar's face showed confusion, then anger. You are either very brave or very foolish, human. I will enjoy destroying your ships. My forces will attack in 10 minutes. Prepare for your defeat. The transmission ended. Well, Hana said quietly, that's one way to start a negotiation. Negotiation was never an option, Day replied. They came here to make us look weak. Instead, we're going to show the galaxy what happens when you threaten humans. Taesung, are those asteroids ready? Just finished. Say the word and I'll light them up. Not yet. Let them get closer. I want them to commit to the attack. Day looked at his crew. Battle stations. This is not a drill. In a few minutes, we're going to face an enemy that thinks we're primitive. That thinks we're weak. Let's prove them wrong. The 10 minutes passed slowly. Day watched the enemy fleet maneuver into attack formation. They were confident, moving with the precision of forces that had never lost a battle. "They're targeting the Defiant Storm," Wu Jin reported. "Just like we predicted. They think it's the weakest target. Let them think that. Youngsu, are you ready?" "Born ready, Commander." "Tairi, what's your status?" "In position." "I'm right behind their command ship. They have no idea I'm here." "Perfect. Hana, prepare for combat maneuvers. When I give the word, I want you to take us straight at their center. Maximum acceleration. That's going to be rough. At least 9 Gs. Our crew can handle it. Theirs can't, that's the advantage." The enemy fleet opened fire. Bright beams of energy shot across space toward the Defiant Storm. The human ship's shields flared as they absorbed the impact. Some shots got through, scoring the Storm's hull. "Storm is taking damage," Wu Jin called out. "But it's holding. Good. Let them think they're winning." "Taesung, how close are they to the asteroid field?" 300 kilometers. 200. 100. "They're in the kill zone." "Do it." Taesung pressed a button. On the tactical display, dozens of asteroids suddenly exploded. But they didn't just break apart. The explosives had been carefully placed to turn the asteroids into massive shotguns. Millions of rock fragments blasted outward at incredible speed. The Valkyrie ships had no time to react. Their shields, designed to stop energy weapons, did almost nothing against physical projectiles. Rocks the size of cars smashed through hulls. Smaller fragments shredded antenna arrays and weapon systems. 3 enemy ships exploded immediately. 2 more began tumbling out of control, their engines destroyed. The perfect Valkyrie formation broke apart in chaos. "Now," Day ordered. "Hana, take us in." The Indomitable's engines roared to life. The ship accelerated directly toward the enemy fleet. Day felt the pressure as gravity increased. 5 Gs, 7 Gs, 9 Gs. His vision narrowed, but his enhanced pilot training kept him conscious. On the Valkyrie ships, crews were passing out. Their bodies couldn't handle the acceleration that humans considered difficult but manageable. "They're not maneuvering," Hana shouted. "They can't react in time." The Indomitable tore through the enemy formation like a knife through paper. Its weapons fired at point-blank range. 2 more Valkyrie ships exploded. Another lost all power and went dark. Behind them, the Shadow's Edge dropped its stealth. Tairi had positioned her ship perfectly. Her weapons targeted the enemy flagship's communication arrays. Precise shots destroyed antenna after antenna. "Enemy communications are down," Wu Jin reported triumphantly. "They can't coordinate?" The Defiant Storm, no longer playing weak, opened up with full firepower. Its weapons had been hidden but were very much functional. Enemy ships that thought they were hunting an injured target found themselves facing a fully armed warship. On his flagship, Threxvar watched in horror as his perfect fleet fell apart. In less than 3 minutes, he had lost 8 ships. 8! Against only 3 human vessels. What are they? He screamed at his crew. How are they doing this? His tactical officer, barely conscious from the extreme maneuvers, gasped out an answer. "They're pulling 9G turns. Our people can't stay conscious above 6 Gs. We can't match their speed or agility." Then increase power to weapons. "Destroy them!" But it was too late for that. The human ships moved like predators, fast and deadly. They didn't fight like other species. They fought like creatures that had evolved hunting and being hunted on the most dangerous world in known space. Day watched his tactical display with satisfaction. The plan was working better than he hoped. The enemy was panicking, making mistakes. "Hana, come around for another pass. Target their engines. I want them crippled, not destroyed." "Tairi, keep hitting their communications." "Wu Jin, are you recording all of this?" "Every second, Commander." "Good, make sure we get proof of their ship signatures. The galaxy needs to see these aren't pirates." The battle raged on, but it was clear who had the upper hand. The Valkyrie had numbers, but humans had speed, agility, and the kind of ruthless efficiency that came from surviving Earth. 3 more enemy ships fell, then 2 more. The Valkyrie fleet, once 18 strong, was down to 10 operational vessels. On his flagship, Threxvar made a decision. "All ships retreat. Fall back to hyperspace." But Day had no intention of letting them leave so easily. "Stay on them," he ordered. "Don't let them regroup." The hunters had become the hunted. The 3 ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Titan Station, humanity's main military facility in the outer solar system. Day had ordered a brief stop to pick up additional supplies and specialists. If they were going into a trap, They would go in prepared. Lieutenant Wu Jin met Day in the briefing room 2 hours later. Wu Jin was young but brilliant, one of the best intelligence analysts in the fleet. He brought up a holographic display showing the Kepler 442b system. "Sir, I've been analyzing the mission parameters," Wu Jin began. "Something doesn't add up. The area around Kepler 442b has never had pirate problems before. It's too far from major shipping lanes and there's nothing valuable there except the mining colony." "What are you thinking?" Dee asked. "I think the Velkari are planning something bigger. I intercepted some encrypted communications. The signatures match Velkari military codes, not pirates. And the force estimate of 15 ships? I think it's going to be more." Hana, who had joined them, crossed her arms. "How many more?" "At least 18. Maybe 20? Wu Jin pulled up ship classifications. "These aren't going to be small raider vessels either. We're looking at full military cruisers and destroyers." Day studied the data carefully. 20 Velkari warships against 3 human vessels. The odds were even worse than he thought, but he had expected something like this. "Can you prove they're military ships?" "Not yet, but I'm working on it. If I can get close enough during the battle, I might be able to crack their communications and get evidence." "Do it. If we're going to fight, we might as well expose their lie while we're at it." Day turned to Hana. "What's the status of our ships?" "The Indomitable is at full readiness. The Defiant Storm took some damage in their last patrol, but Engineer Yuna says she can have it battle ready in 20 hours. The Shadow's Edge is perfect. Captain Tayri runs a tight ship." "Good. I want to meet with all department heads in 1 hour. We need to plan for every possibility." The meeting room filled quickly. Sergeant Jinho arrived first, leading a squad of Marines. Jinho was a veteran of countless ground battles. His face was weathered and scarred, but his eyes were sharp. Behind him came Dr. Bora, the fleet's chief medical officer. She was small and looked gentle, but Day had seen her work in combat zones. She was as tough as any soldier. Engineer Yuna rushed in last, her hands covered in grease. "Sorry I'm late, Commander. I was working on the Storm's engines." "No problem. Everyone, sit down. We have a lot to discuss." Deactivated the holographic display. It showed the Kepler 442b system in detail. The colony was on the planet's surface. The surrounding space had several asteroid fields and 2 small moons. "This is where we'll make our stand," Day explained. 3 ships against at least 18 enemy vessels. Standard military tactics say we should lose badly, but we're not going to use standard tactics. Jinho grinned. "I was hoping you'd say that. The Velkari expect us to fight like they do. Long-range bombardment, careful positioning, slow and methodical combat. That's how most species fight in space. But humans don't come from a world where slow and careful kept you alive." Bora nodded. "Earth taught us to adapt fast or die." "Exactly." Day zoomed in on the asteroid fields. "We're going to use these. The Storm will take up position here and draw the enemy in. They'll think we're trying to use the asteroids for cover. Classic defensive strategy. But that's not the real plan," Hana said, catching on. "No. The real plan is to turn those asteroids into weapons. Taesung, can we mine them?" Lieutenant Taesung stood up. He was a large man with a calm demeanor that hid his love for explosives. "Already ahead of you, sir. I've got enough charges to turn a dozen asteroids into fragmentation bombs. When the enemy gets close, we blow them. The rocks will tear through their hulls. Won't their shields protect them?" Yuna asked. "Their shields are designed for energy weapons, not physical projectiles moving at high speed. Besides, Velkari ships have weaker shields than ours. They've never needed strong ones because they don't fight in asteroid fields. Too dangerous for them. But not for us," Jinho said with satisfaction. Day continued. "The Shadow's Edge will use its stealth systems to move through the enemy formation. Tayri will target their command ships and communication arrays. If we can blind them and cut off their coordination, they'll be vulnerable." "What about the Indomitable?" Hana asked. "We're going to do something they won't expect. We're going directly into the heart of their formation." The room went quiet. That was a suicide move by most military standards, but everyone in the room understood what Day was really saying. Wu Jin spoke up. "The Velkari can't handle high G-forces like we can. Their biology isn't built for it. If we execute combat maneuvers at 8 or 9 Gs, their crews will pass out. 10 Gs if needed," Hana added. "I've trained for it. So has every pilot in our fleet. The aliens think our gravity tolerance is just a curiosity," Day said. "They don't understand it's a weapon. When the Indomitable charges their formation, I want us pulling maneuvers that would kill any other species. We'll be inside their defensive perimeter before they can react. Jinho stood up. What about ground combat? If they try to land troops at the colony, my Marines need to be ready. Good point. Bora, what can you tell us about Velkari biology? The doctor pulled up medical data. They're physically weaker than humans. Lower bone density, less muscle mass. They evolved in 0.6 gravity. Even our colony's 1.2 gravity would tire them quickly. In combat, they rely on powered armor to enhance their strength. Can we counter that? Yes, their armor has weak points at the joints. Also, they have slower reaction times than humans. Our people can move and shoot faster. If it comes to ground combat, we have the advantage. Jinho nodded. My Marines will be ready. We'll hold that colony even if they land 1,000 troops. Let's make sure it doesn't come to that, Day said. But I want defensive positions prepared just in case. Jinho, coordinate with Colony Director Sungmin. Make sure the civilians have shelters and know the evacuation procedures. Yes, sir. Yuna raised her hand. Commander, I have an idea for the Defiant Storm. Since it's already damaged, what if we use that to our advantage? I'm listening. We could rig the ship to look more damaged than it is. Make it seem like an easy target. When enemy ships focus on it, the storm could hit them with everything we've got at close range. A surprise attack, Taesung laughed. I like it. We could also prepare the storm for a ramming attack if things get desperate. Overload the reactor, point it at their flagship, and evacuate the crew at the last second. Let's keep that as a final option, Day said. But prepare it anyway. I want every possible advantage. The meeting continued for 2 more hours. Every detail was planned, every scenario considered. When it finally ended, Day felt confident. They were ready. As everyone filed out, Hana stayed behind. You know this is crazy, right? She said quietly. Yes. And you know that even with our advantages, we could still lose. Yes. Good. Just wanted to make sure you were being realistic. She smiled. When do we leave? 6 hours. Get some rest. You'll need it. Rest is for species that don't come from death worlds, Hana joked, but she left to get a few hours of sleep anyway. Day remained in the briefing room, staring at the holographic display. Kepler 442b floated in the projection, a small blue dot in the vastness of space. 3,000 colonists lived there. Mining families, scientists, teachers, regular people trying to build a life on the frontier. They were depending on him. Earth was depending on him. The future of humanity in the galaxy depended on what happened in the next week. He thought about his crew. 847 people who had volunteered for this mission knowing the odds. They trusted him to lead them through the impossible. Day reached out and touched the hologram, his finger passing through the image of Kepler 442b. We won't let you down, he said quietly. Any of you. 18 hours later, the 3 human ships jumped back into faster-than-light travel, heading toward their destination. Behind them, Titan Station sent a final encrypted message. Ambassador Nari's voice came through clearly. The Council is watching. Show them why Earth's children don't break. Day's response was simple and confident. We won't just survive. We'll win. Commander Day stood at the window of the human embassy station, watching the massive ships of the Galactic Council drift past. Each vessel belonged to a different alien species. Some looked like crystals floating in space. Others were round and smooth like pearls. All of them were beautiful and peaceful looking. Day knew that was the problem. The door behind him opened. Ambassador Nari walked in, her face tight with worry. She carried a datapad that glowed with urgent messages. They made their decision, she said quietly. It's not good. Day turned away from the window. He was a tall man with sharp eyes and scars on his hands from years of military service. His uniform was simple and dark, very different from the colorful robes the alien diplomats wore. Tell me, he said. Nari sat down heavily. The council voted this morning. They're denying our membership application again. 5th time in 5 years. Day felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his face calm. What reason did they give this time? The same as always. They say humans are too violent, too aggressive. They claim Earth is a death world and that we're not civilized enough to join them. Nari's voice shook with frustration. They showed videos of our history, wars, conflicts. They made us look like monsters. We survived, Day said simply. Earth tried to kill us for millions of years. Predators, diseases, natural disasters. We learned to fight back. That's not the same as being monsters. I know that. You know that. But they don't see it that way. Nari looked at her datapad again. There's more. The Velkari Empire proposed something. They call it a test. Day's eyes narrowed. The Velkari were one of the most powerful military forces in the Council. They came from a world with low gravity and gentle weather. Their soldiers were disciplined but had never fought anything truly dangerous. What kind of test? They want us to defend a colony world. Outpost Kepler 442b. They say pirates have been raiding the area. If we can protect the colony for 1 week, they'll consider our application again. Pirates, Day repeated. He didn't believe it for a second. I don't trust it either, Nari admitted. But Earth Command already received the official challenge. They want you to take it. Day walked to the window again. Far below the station, he could see 3 human ships docked at the lower levels. They were smaller than most alien vessels. Humans built their ships tough and efficient, not pretty. How many ships can I take? He asked. 3. The Indomitable, the Defiant Storm, and the Shadow's Edge. That's all they're allowing. And how many pirates are we expecting? Nari hesitated. Intelligence suggests about 15 ships. Day laughed, but there was no humor in it. 5-to-1 odds. They want us to fail. Yes. The Velkari commander, Warlord Threxvar, volunteered to observe the test personally. He's bringing his entire fleet. To watch or to participate? Officially to watch. But Day, if this is a trap... It's definitely a trap, Day interrupted. The question is whether we spring it anyway. Nari stood and walked over to him. Earth Command says the decision is yours. You can refuse. No one would blame you. Day thought about the 3,000 human colonists on Kepler 442b. He thought about the 5 years humanity had spent trying to join a galactic community that saw them as lesser beings. He thought about every soldier under his command who had trained their entire lives for a chance to prove what humans could do. How long do we have? He asked. 72 hours to prepare. The test begins on Monday. Then I should get started. Day turned and headed for the door. Day, wait. Nari grabbed his arm. The Council expects us to fail. They expect you to lose ships and people. They might even be hoping for it. This could end badly. Day looked at her with calm certainty. Ambassador Earth survived ice ages, meteor strikes, and predators that could smell fear. Humanity learned to hunt animals bigger and stronger than us. We learned to turn poison into medicine and fire into tools. We didn't become the dominant species on our planet by giving up when the odds were bad. I know our history, Commander. Then you know we've faced worse than this. Much worse. Dee pulled his arm free gently. Send a message to the Indomitable. Tell Captain Hana to prepare the fleet for immediate departure. And tell her to wake up Lieutenant Taesung. I want every weapon system ready. Nari nodded slowly. What should I tell the Council? Tell them we accept their test. Tell them humanity looks forward to showing them what Deathworlders can do. 3 hours later, Day stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Indomitable. The crew moved around him with practiced efficiency. Every person wore the dark blue uniform of Earth's Special Forces fleet. They were the best humanity had to offer. Captain Hana approached him. She was shorter than most of the crew, but moved with the confidence of someone who had survived dozens of space battles. Her pilot scores were legendary even among other humans. All systems ready, Commander, she reported. The Defiant Storm and Shadow's Edge are prepared to follow our lead. Good. What's our crew count? 847 personnel across all 3 ships. Marines, pilots, engineers, medics. Everyone volunteered when they heard about the mission. Day smiled slightly. That was the thing about humans. When things got dangerous, they didn't run away. They ran toward the fight. Lieutenant Taesung? Day asked. Weapons are armed and ready, sir, came a voice from across the bridge. Taesung was a big man with steady hands and a genius for making things explode. I've also got a few surprises prepared for our pirate friends. Captain Taeri checked in from the Shadow's Edge. Hana added. She says her stealth systems are working perfectly. The enemy won't see her coming. Day looked at the main screen. It showed the route to Kepler 442b. 3 days of faster-than-light travel. 3 days to prepare for a battle they were expected to lose. Open a channel to the fleet, he ordered. A moment later, every crew member on all 3 ships could hear his voice. This is Commander Day. By now you all know our mission. The Galactic Council has given us a test. They want to see if humans deserve to join their civilization. They're sending 15 ships against our 3. They think we'll surrender or die. They think Earth made us too violent to be trusted, too dangerous to be respected. He paused, letting his words sink in. They're right about one thing. Earth did make us dangerous, but not in the way they think. We're dangerous because we don't quit. We're dangerous because we adapt. We're dangerous because when someone tells us something is impossible, we do it anyway. Our ancestors climbed to the top of the food chain on the most hostile planet in known space. We didn't do that by being weak. We didn't do that by running away. Day's voice grew harder, more intense. The Council wants a show. Let's give them one they'll never forget. Let's show them what happens when you challenge someone from Earth. Let's remind the galaxy why Deathworlders don't lose. All ships prepare for FTL jump. We have colonists to protect and a point to prove. As the 3 human ships jumped into faster-than-light travel, Day remained standing on the bridge. Behind him, Hana smiled. She had served with Day for 10 years. She knew that look in his eyes. The galaxy was about to learn a very important lesson. Never underestimate someone who survived Earth. We learned to fight or we learned to die. You came from a safe world. We came from hell. That's the difference. In 3 days after the battle, Commander Day stood before the Galactic Council. His uniform still showed burn marks and damage from combat. He had refused to change it. Let them see what their test had cost. The council chamber was massive, designed to hold representatives from hundreds of species. Today it was full. Every alien diplomat wanted to see the human who had done the impossible. The chamber buzzed with conversation in dozens of languages. Ambassador Nari stood beside Dai. She looked proud, but also worried. The political situation was complicated now. Humanity had won the battle, but winning had created new problems. Counselor General Veltrax called the session to order. He was an old alien with silver skin and wise eyes. Commander Day of Earth, you stand before this council to give testimony about the recent events at Kepler 442b. The council recognizes you. Day stepped forward. His boots echoed on the crystal floor. Thank you, Counselor. I will keep this simple. 3 weeks ago, this council challenged humanity to defend one of our colonies. You said it was a test to prove we deserved membership. You told us we would face pirates. That was a lie. The chamber erupted in noise. Aliens shouted in protest or agreement. Veltrax raised his hand for silence. These are serious accusations, Commander. Do you have proof? I do. Day nodded to Wu Jin, who was watching from the visitors section. The young officer activated a holographic display. It showed the data Captain Tayri had recovered from the Velkari command ship. These files prove that the Velkari Empire, with approval from certain council members, planned a military operation disguised as a pirate raid. They sent 18 warships against our 3 vessels. The goal was to make humanity fail publicly and justify excluding us from the council forever. The holograms showed communication logs, ship manifests, and orders from Velkari military command. The evidence was overwhelming. Several council members looked away in shame. Others seemed angry at being caught. A Velkari representative tried to stand. This is an outrage. You accuse us based on stolen data. Stolen? Day's voice was cold. Your military attacked a human colony. My people defended themselves. In the process, we captured enemy ships and reviewed their records. That's not theft. That's war. Veltrax studied the data carefully. His expression grew more serious with each passing moment. Finally, he spoke. The evidence appears legitimate. This council must address this matter. But first, Commander Day, please tell us about the battle itself. Our observers reported events that seem difficult to believe. What would you like to know? Your forces were outnumbered 6-1. You faced ships with superior firepower, yet you achieved victory with minimal casualties. How? Day thought about how to explain. These aliens had never experienced what humans took for granted. Counselor, humanity evolved on Earth. Most of you know Earth has been classified as a Class 12 death world, the highest danger rating your science has. What you don't understand is what that really means. He gestured to the holographic display. It changed to show images of Earth. Predators hunting prey, storms destroying forests, volcanoes erupting. Every single day for millions of years, Earth tried to kill our ancestors. Giant predators with teeth longer than knives, diseases that killed entire populations, natural disasters that destroyed civilizations. We survived because we learned to adapt, to fight, to never give up even when the odds said we should die. Veltrax leaned forward. But how does evolutionary history translate to military victory? Because those millions of years shaped our bodies and minds. We can tolerate higher gravity than most species. During the battle, my pilots executed 9G combat maneuvers. The Velkari crews passed out at 6Gs. We simply flew circles around them while they couldn't stay conscious. The chamber was silent now. Every alien was listening. Our soldiers can fight through injuries that would disable your warriors. We heal faster. We have higher pain tolerance. And we have something else. Something you can't measure in numbers or technology. We have the will to survive. When you grow up on a world where weakness means death, you learn to push past your limits. You learn that giving up is not an option. A small alien from a water world spoke up. You make it sound like you are superior to us. No, Day said firmly. We're not superior. We're just different. You evolved on safe worlds. You developed advanced civilizations, beautiful art, and peaceful societies. That's admirable. We respect that. But don't mistake peaceful for weak, and don't mistake our willingness to fight for aggression. We defend our own. That's all we did at Kepler 442b. Another counselor asked, what about the ground battle? We received reports that 150 human soldiers defeated 400 Velkari troops in powered armor. Is this accurate? Yes, our Marines held the colony against overwhelming numbers. The Velkari troops were well-trained and well-equipped, but they had never fought an enemy like us. Sergeant Jinho led the defense brilliantly. His people used tactics that exploited the enemy's weaknesses. We took 20 casualties. None fatal. We killed or captured over 300 enemy soldiers. How is that possible? Dr. Bora stood up from the visitor section. May I speak, counselor? Who are you? Dr. Bora, Chief Medical Officer of the Human Fleet. I treated the wounded during and after the battle. I can explain the medical factors. Please do. Bora walked to join Day. She brought up medical data on the holographic display. Human physiology is significantly different from most galactic species. Our bone density is higher. Our muscle tissue repairs faster. Our immune systems are more aggressive. Evolution on Earth created humans who could survive injuries that would kill other species. During the battle, I had soldiers return to combat within hours of being wounded. That's normal for us. That sounds brutal, someone said. It is, Bora agreed. But it's also effective. Earth taught us that surviving is more important than comfort. That's the Deathworlder advantage. The session continued for hours. Day answered every question. He showed combat footage. He provided technical data. By the end, even the skeptical council members could not deny the truth. Humanity had won fairly against impossible odds. Finally, Veltrax called for a vote. The council must decide on two matters. First, what consequences for the Velkari conspiracy. Second, humanity's membership application. We will vote now. The voting took 30 minutes. When it was finished, Veltrax announced the results. The council has reached its decision. The Velkari Empire is sanctioned for its actions. They will pay reparations to the human colony at Kepler 442b. Warlord Threxvar will stand trial for war crimes. A murmur ran through the chamber. The Velkari representative looked furious but said nothing. As for humanity's membership, Veltrax continued, the council votes to approve full membership, effective immediately. Commander Day, Ambassador Nari, welcome to the Galactic Council. The chamber erupted in noise. Some aliens applauded, others protested. But the decision was made. After 5 years of rejection, humanity had finally been accepted. Nari smiled with tears in her eyes. Day remained calm, but he felt relief wash over him. They had done it. 6 months later, Day stood on a memorial platform at Kepler 442b. The colony had been rebuilt and expanded. Where once there were simple mining structures, now stood permanent buildings and green spaces. The colonists had voted to rename their main square Victory Plaza in honor of the battle. In the center of the plaza stood a memorial. It listed the names of the 23 humans who had died defending the colony. 20 Marines who fell in ground combat, 3 crew members killed in space. Their sacrifice would not be forgotten. Representatives from dozens of alien species attended the memorial service. Even some Velkari came, seeking to apologize for their government's actions. Director Sung Min gave a speech about courage and sacrifice. Sergeant Jinho laid flowers at the memorial. Corporal Jiwoo read the names of the fallen, her voice steady despite her emotions. When the ceremony ended, Day stood alone at the memorial. He traced his fingers over the names carved in stone. These people had trusted him. They had followed his orders into impossible odds. Most survived, but these 23 did not. He would carry their memory forever. Hana found him there as the sun set. "Admiral," she said. He had been promoted after the battle. "There's something you should see." She handed him a data pad. It showed requests from 7 different species. They all wanted human military advisors. They wanted to learn from Earth's warriors. The Deathworlder tactics had impressed everyone. "What do you think?" Hana asked. "I think the galaxy is finally taking us seriously." Day looked at the memorial one more time. "But they still don't fully understand. We don't fight because we want to. We fight because we have to. Because Earth taught us that survival requires strength. Do you think we'll have peace now?" "For a while. But there are always new threats. The Council has been receiving reports about tensions in the Outer Rim. Unknown forces attacking frontier worlds. They're going to ask for our help. And will we give it?" Day smiled slightly. "We're Deathworlders, Hana. Protecting others is what we do. When the call comes, we'll answer it. Because that's who we are." Back on Earth, the victory was celebrated. Billions of humans watched the news broadcasts showing